Hi there, welcome to finally a wet liberal whenever, and I'm finally galvanised into doing it by the little article by Charles Arthur in The Guardian yesterday, which on a list of people who are on Twitter, it was about which political party public figures support, and I was listed on this list as a Liberal Democrat supporter. And I'm not offended. I mean, if it had said I was a Tory supporter or a British National Party supporter, I would clearly be incensed and very upset. Liberal Democrats is fine because of the interesting nature of the British election at the moment. For those of you overseas, we have been dominated by a sort of two-party system from all my memory. I can't remember this ever happening before. Suddenly there's this leader of the Liberal Democrats, a guy called Nick Clegg, who has sort of come to the fore and made it a much more interesting election. It was really boring because it was a choice between two hideous choices: the completely debunked and now extremely right-wing Labour Party and the, as always, extremely right-wing Conservative Party. So you had a choice between two extremely right-wing parties, and what a choice to make. You know, people who are pro-Trident missiles, pro-war, pro-banking, pro-big business, that's the Labour Party, and then there's the Tory Party who are pro-war, pro-Trident, pro-big banking, pro-big business, pro-big corporations making massive profits. BP have just announced their profits, up in extraordinary amount, billions of pounds profit they're making out of selling fossil fuels they drill out of the ground. Oh, you're so creative. Sorry, not a big supporter of British petroleum. And that's why I drone on like a boring old fart about fucking electric cars, because then we don't have to buy their shitty products. Anyway, that said, I've always had very, very strong political opinions, which I've mainly kept to myself because of my job. Because I appear in public, then I don't want to go spouting on about my fucking boring political beliefs. They leak out, I admit that. But I would never say who I vote for. So therefore, being told that you're going to be voting Liberal Democrat is kind of weird, because that suddenly ties me to that. And I don't want to be rude to the Liberal Democrat. I don't hate the Liberal Democrats. So if you go on sort of shades of hate, I used to not hate the Labour Party. I can't now do anything else. I'm sorry, I can't support Labour. I know Eddie Izzard does. I just find the present Labour Party abhorrent, absolutely abhorrent. And the present Labour leader, although I sympathise with them and I've been very rude about him on YouTube for the wrong reasons, you know, I think he's a right-wing banker. And I can't help it. And I can't support the fact that we bailed out the fucking banks and that we invaded a country we had no reason to invade to support a president who was absolutely vile. And we should now be supporting a president who's absolutely amazing, you know. And it's just, it just makes me puke. And I'm very depressed about what's happened to the Labour Party. I'm not happy about it. It's really depressing. I had this wonderful comment not long ago by a guy called Alex Salmon, who is the leader of the SNP in Scotland, the Scottish National Party, and he said that he works in a balanced parliament in Scotland, as they do in Wales. A balanced parliament where no one party has complete control, and he called it a balanced parliament, and I'd never heard that before. I've only ever heard hung parliament, which is a disaster. We've got to have power. Those tragic men in their suits, and that's the trouble when you see all three of them together. Nick Clegg's just another one of them. I hate men in suits. I don't trust men who wear suits. Men who wear suits tell lies and try and con you and get money out of you. Haven't you worked it out? Don't trust a tosser in a suit is rule number one. Okay, I accept that having an obsessive dislike of men in suits is a little bit immature. But I'm just hanging on to some of my immaturity as I get very old. It's quite good fun. But it is interesting, that whole thing about men in suits and machismo and being the leader and having the power, you know, that's more important to them. It's very clear to all of them, possibly not Clegg, but it's very clear that for Brown and the Cameron man, that is absolutely vital, to be able to strut around being in power. Not to have a certain amount of influence within a controlled environment of collective decision making, which you would think would be a wonderful thing to strive for, that you have an opinion, you really think something's important, you believe in it passionately, and you want to try and bring that about, and you know that you have to do that within a framework where it is fair and there's governing checks and balances and all that stuff. That would be the most important thing. The only party that exists that I would actually support most of their policies is the Green Party, but I don't want to align myself with any party. I'm not that sort of person. And that's what really, it kind of upset me. I will admit it. It upset me to see my name and then go Liberal Democrats. That's what he supports. Well, I don't. I don't want to be aligned with one political party because they'll do something fucking stupid. That's what I know. It's like when I voted for Tony Blair. There's no question about it. I cannot deny it. That's who I will admit that. I don't want to talk about who I voted for, but that one occasion, in 1997 election, I did vote Labour. I voted for Tony Blair. I was really happy when he came into power. He seemed different and fresh, and I was young enough to be fooled by that. He went from absolute hero, I think, in steering George Bush away from nuking most of the world after 9/11, to being a total twat. And we'll never know quite why we got involved in invading Iraq. We know, everyone knows we should never have done it. Everyone knows it was about oil. Everyone knows the weapons of mass destruction was a lie. He lied to us. I never believed him. I want to proudly state that. I never thought that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. That's my hope for the British election this year, in a couple of weeks' time. I just want everyone to vote. Just vote. And I think we should, this time now, vote for who we really believe in rather than doing some sort of poxy tactical voting, which I would admit that I've done in the past, particularly from where I live. It's just such a ridiculously Tory area. I haven't got my hammer and sickle flag up in the front garden yet. I don't know if I'll put that up, but I have done that at past elections, just to balance it, because everywhere around here there's vote Conservative for change. For change? I mean, I don't believe anything that Eton-educated posho, gap year, chunder merchant, if you haven't seen gap year, just type gap YAH into YouTube. It is really one of the funniest videos and very telling of the whole Tory party view. That's all I'm going to talk about. Politics, satire, Liberal Democrats, the election. Don't forget to vote. May the 6th. Right on. And if you have been, thank you for watching.